30 seconds remaining.
The timer counts down. You stand with arms crossed, defiantly staring down the robot.
I'm not willing to play your games, Doctor. I'm not gonna kill anyone.
You nod to Alice, who nods back.
You think just because you don't press the button yourself, you get to abdicate your responsibility?
Alice pulls her hand back from the panel, and her jaw tightens with conviction. Her eyes nearly glow with the fierce determination, and she takes a few steps forward to face off against the motionless robot.
No, Harris.
She says with a steady, unyielding conviction.
Responsibility isn't about following someone else's rules or playing into their traps. It's about making the choice you can live with.
She meets your gaze and returns your nod in a show of solidarity.
We're not going to kill for you. If you want us to trust you, you should have started with the truth instead of ultimatums.
You feel a swelling of pride at Alice's words. She has been an odd companion, even suspicious at times, but hearing her words echo the sentiment in your heart fills you with an unexpected relief, as if a breath you had been holding for hours could finally be released.
Whatever happens next, we're not your pawns, Harris. You don't get to decide who lives or dies.
A horrid, manic laughter erupts from Dr. Alcazar. It sounds less like mirth and more as if a demonic entity is shrieking in an attempt to escape the box.
You're not a pawn, are you? I don't decide who lives and dies, do I? Why don't you try this on for size?
Then, with the terrifying solemnity of a witch reciting a curse, Alcazar began to chant.
In no wonderland they lie, dreaming as the days go by, dreaming as the summers die, ever drifting down the stream, lingering in the golden gleam. Life, what is it but a dream?
Alice's body posture changes immediately. Her defiant stance becomes slack, and the fire in her eyes fades and becomes dim. Something is horribly wrong.
Alice.
Alcazar calls to her, and her dull gaze locks onto his voice.
Press the left button now.
Without hesitation, Alice moves to press the left button, freeing Dr. Alcazar and dooming the 5 cloned men. You realize with horror the doctor has somehow robbed Alice of her will. Can he do the same to me? The terrible thought passes through your mind, but there's no time to examine it. You leap forward to tackle Alice to the ground. As long as you retain your free will, you will use it to prevent Alice from becoming a killer.
Hey, wake up!
You shout at her in vain as you use your greater weight to hold her to the ground.
10, 9, 8.
Alice twists her arm around and pushes the needle into your neck, the same way she had when you had woken up in immeasurable pain. You feel air pressing through the needle somewhere into your neck. You pray it's not enough to cause an embolism.
7, 6, 5.
I won't let you!
You cry through the pain, through the needle in your neck, through the mounting horror of holding this woman to the ground forcibly. Different fragments of revulsion, all screaming at the action, even in service of protecting her.
Kill!
Screams Dr. Alcazar.
4, 3, 2.
Alice removes the syringe. Her hand trembles as she holds the tip toward you. Your eyes meet for a moment, and you see a spark of the woman you've known until now. She looks scared.
I'm sorry,
Is all she has time to say before twisting the syringe and plunging it into her eye. She shudders once, and then her body goes limp. A last halting gasp escapes her lips as blood begins to pool in her eye socket and drain like tears down the side of her face.
1.
The robot howls as an electrical hum rises from within the box. Behind you, the 5 pods open and the liquid supporting each man spills onto the floor. 3 fall and do not stir. 1 begins thrashing and convulsing wildly, slamming its head, feet, and hands repeatedly into the ground. Watery life support bleeds to red as it mixes with the thrashing man's blood. Most awful of all, 1 begins to raise itself slowly from its stomach onto its elbows and looks at you. It has a blank, lost stare as if looking through you, before falling face first back into the liquid. its chest still rising and falling slowly. It is the gut-wrenching image of a baby learning to crawl, superimposed onto the near-naked body of a grown man. The doctor's screams give way to gurgling, and then nothing but a dangerous, static-filled hum. A horrid smell a part of you recognizes as burning flesh emanates from the bomb disposal robot, accompanied by watery pink liquid that begins to leak from the corners of the machine. 6 dead bodies and 1 entombed funeral pyre surround you. This corpse-ridden field a monument to your decision. You roll over and retch uncontrollably, your bile mixing with the life support liquid, blood, and other viscera. You don't know how long you remain there, retching in filth, envying the fate of every dead cadaver around you, knowing you were at least somewhat responsible for their deaths. Your newly realigned consciousness fragments into squabbling shards again. The being that is you is splintered into a dozen incomplete identities. What a fool you are for daring to think you could pull yourself together and become whole. You were never really an individual. You have no past, no identity, no—
Hello, friend!
A voice calls from above you.
If I come down, will you kill me too?
You force yourself, both mentally and physically, to pull yourself together and look up at the voice. Through what looks like an open ventilation port in the roof, here's a large golden retriever with its tongue hanging out, its tail wagging, and its oversized brain coming out through the top of its head, contained only by a clear sort of fishbowl-looking apparatus.
I've seen a lot of bullshit today, but this takes the cake.
What?
You stammer, and with effort, force yourself to stand.
If I come down, will you kill me too, new friend?
The dog repeats, its jowls not moving, but instead the voice coming from a small speaker on the dog's collar.
I didn't kill them.
Your voice breaks with desperation.
I didn't, I swear!
The dog leans back with its rump in the air and its tail wags faster.
Oh boy, then you could be my partner and my friend. We could escape the bad man together.
The bad man? You ask, approaching the dog.
Yep, he's the one who put us here. Made me smart, put you together. I have not seen him, but his smell is on everything.
A crackling sound comes over the speakers around the room, and the dog winces back.
Don't tell him I'm up here!
1 minute looking for that damn dog and you do this? What the hell is wrong with you? You made it past the first door, so you should have a basic brain function, and then you immediately get everyone killed.
There's a frustrated sigh and a small pause before the voice continues.
Do you maybe like death? Maybe you're not stupid, maybe this is what you wanted. Poor Alcazan. What a wretched end to such a brilliant man.
You look in vain around the room for some sort of observation deck or camera, or any visual sign of the speaker.
I didn't want anyone to die.
There's silence for another moment, and then he continues.
I should have expected this, given your origins. Indecisiveness would be inevitable.
He mumbles to himself inaudibly for a moment, before continuing.
Let's see if we can't get things back on track with the game, shall we?
You tense and begin to shake, looking around wildly at the carnage around you. The last game did not go so well.
What kind of game?
Nothing violent, I assure you, just a little nudge in the right direction. Help get things moving along, you know?
You glance subtly at the open air vent and see the dog, head tilted with intense interest. Its oversized brain in a jar leans against the vent wall.
Here's the game. You ask me 3 questions, any 3 questions, and I have to answer them.
He seems too excited by this.
2 of them I will answer truthfully, and 1 I will answer falsely.
He claps his hands together over the speakers.
See, we could still make progress. I'm sure you're dying to know all sorts of things, and I, of course, have all the answers.
So faintly you think you may be imagining it, a tapping sound comes from the vent. You look up at the dog, who forcibly shakes his head no at you, urging you to look away. You comply and move as if you're still trying to find the voice.
So, I can ask anything,
you say, in hopes to stall long enough to clear your mind and cover the sound of the dog's tapping.
Anything at all, but don't waste your question. You don't get a refund if it's something stupid or something I can't possibly know.
The dog's tapping stops. It is time to choose. What are your questions? The 3 question comments with the most amount of votes will be the 3 questions you ask